Hello guys, good day. Welcome to our video lecture in ACC 111, Financial Accounting and Reporting. So in this video lecture guys, we'll just have a simple discussion on how to prepare accounting worksheets. So after having the step 4 or having the competencies required necessary to prepare adjusting journal entries, we now have the step 5, which is the preparation of our accounting worksheets. Okay, when we talk about accounting worksheets, just for your information, worksheets are multi-columnar documents that provides an effective way to summarize financial information in the financial statements. This is done when preparing adjusted trial balance with the consideration of adjustments. So this simplifies the adjusting and closing process of the accounting. It can help us also to locate errors if there is any. This is not a journal, nor a ledger, nor a financial statement. So the statement is true that worksheets is not part of our complete set of our financial statements, but rather worksheets is just used as a tool by accountants in order to efficiently prepare financial statements. Okay, it can be used as a tool to aid the preparation of the financial statements. Okay, so there are steps, guys, that we need to follow in preparing worksheets. We actually have 5 steps that we need to follow in preparing worksheets. So the first step is the account balances of the unadjusted trial balance will be posted to the first 2 columns of the worksheets. So after um, recording our journal entries from general journal, we will be posting it with their respective ledgers. So after posting it to our respective ledgers, we will now summarize it and prepare unadjusted trial balance. So the prepared unadjusted trial balance, guys, will now be our first step to prepare a 10-column worksheet. So for example, we have here Emiliano Bencherotti Surveying Firm. We have prepared a trial balance for the month ended March 31, 2020. Okay, these are still the unadjusted trial balance. So we have from cash to the expenses incurred by Emiliano Bencherotti Surveying Firm. So we have total debits of 11,235,000 and total credits of 11,235,000. So again guys, the first step is simply to copy all of these items in the first 2 columns of our 10-column worksheet. If it's on the debit side, then therefore we will also put it on the debit side. And if it's on the credit side, then therefore we will also put it on the credit side. So simply we just copy whatever is in our um, trial balance. We just simply copy it to the first 2 columns of our trial balance. So from cash of 295,000 up to our miscellaneous expenses of 60,000. Okay, from our miscellaneous expenses of 60,000. So still we have 11,235,000 total debits and 11,235,000. So guys, do not mind first these extra accounts here, because these extra accounts here are the accounts that are used in our adjustments. So don't mind muna these items, because this will be included pa lang when we have already prepared our adjustments, which will be made in the second step. Okay, the second step in preparing our worksheet is to adjust. Okay, prepare adjusting entries, or your adjusting entries are entered into columns for adjustments. So again, in step 4 guys, in the accounting cycle, step 4 includes the adjustments. So the prepared adjusting entries will now be um, integrated in the preparation of our worksheet. So for example, we have here sample items to be adjusted. We have letter A, the prepaid advice, prepaid advertising represents 18 months expenditure made on November 1, 2019. So we also have prepared for your convenience. I have also prepared the adjusting journal entries for this adjustment. So we have for letter A, we have prepaid advertising represents 18 months expenditure made on November 1, 2019. So you just simply adjust that. So debit to advertising expense for 50,000, credit to prepaid advertising for 50,000. Okay. And letter B, the supplies are counted at the end of. Okay, by the way, if you will ask where did we get that 50,000? So that 50,000 is from our advertising. Let's go back with our trial balance. We have here our prepaid advertising of 180,000, guys. And that 180,000 now is good for that's good for 18 months. So that means there are um where that means we have 180,000 divide 18 months. So that means we have 10,000 advertising expense per month. And there were 5 months that has lapsed from November 1, 2019 up to March 31, 2020. So therefore 10,000 times 5 months. So we have a 50,000 na portion of our prepaid advertising that will be expense. So that is why our adjusting journal entry would include debit to advertising expense for 50,000 and credit to prepaid advertising for 50,000. Another journal entry or another adjustment, the supplies are counted at the end of March 31, 2020 that amounts to 65,000. So again, you just simply compare it with the beginning balance of our supplies to compute for the amount of supplies that has been used. So therefore, we have here engineering supplies expense debit for 205,000 and credit to engineering supplies for 205,000. Another depreciation expense for the year is computed based on straight line method using 20 years of life with salvage value of 50,000. So again, our adjustment for that will be debit to depreciation expense, credit to accumulated depreciation for 100,000, and so on and so forth until such time we could now prepare the entire adjusting journal entries. I know that you already know how to compute adjusting journal entries because that was our topic in our step 4, preparing adjusting journal entries. Okay, but again, assuming that we have already the list of adjusting journal entries, so second step is just to integrate it in our um, worksheet. So you integrate it in the third and fourth column of our worksheets. Okay, so we have here letter A, advertising expense and prepaid advertising. So you just simply account debit to advertising expense, credit to prepaid advertising. So since we don't have existing amount for our advertising expense, so you add um that specific account title at the bottom. So that is why we put advertising expense here for 50,000 and credit to 50,000 for our prepaid advertising. So that is 50,000. Okay, debit advertising expense, credit to prepaid advertising. Another journal entry is debit to engineering supplies expense, credit to engineering supplies. So again, if it's debit, then you just simply put it also in the debit side. So debit to engineering supplies expense. So we have here engineering supplies expense here, or engineering supplies used for 205,000, credit to engineering supplies for 205,000. Another adjustment includes depreciation expense and accumulated depreciation. So we have here debit to depreciation expense. Where is our depreciation expense? So we have here depreciation expense, survey equipment for 100,000, and then credit to accumulated depreciation for our survey equipment 100,000. We don't have other depreciable na property here. So that is why your adjustment also includes ano lang depreciation expense lang and accumulated depreciation. And then letter D, unearned survey revenue, and then credit to survey revenue. So debit to survey revenue. So you just simply debit survey revenue, unearned survey revenue for how much? That was 36,000 here. Unearned survey revenue for 36,000, and then credit to survey revenue for 36,000 to record the earned portion of our unearned survey revenue. Another, guys, is your salaries expense, accrued salaries expense of 190,000. So adjusting journal entry nato will be debit to salaries expense for 190,000, credit to salaries payable for 190,000 also. So again, you just simply put that on the debit side and credit side. So we have accrued salaries expense. Okay, we have accrued salaries expense for how much? That was accrued salaries expense of 190,000. Here, salaries expense. So debit to salaries expense for 190,000. Credit to accrued salaries expense for 190. Or salaries payable for 190,000. Accrued salaries expense or salaries payable for 190,000. And lastly, guys, for our accrued interest, so to record the accrued portion of our interest expense, so we have debit to interest expense, credit to interest payable. So you just simply debit it for interest expense for 78,000 and credit to 78,000 also for accrued interest expense or accrued interest payable. Okay, so that will be our second step to integrate our adjustments in the third and fourth column of our 10 column worksheet. So don't forget to balance or to do the footing to check whether we have a balanced debits and credits. So since we have total debits of 659 and total credits of 659, then we can say that our adjustments were correctly plotted in our worksheet. Now let's proceed with the third step in preparing worksheet, guys. We have combined the figures in amounts from unadjusted trial balance and from the adjustments. So the amounts are now posted in the adjusted trial balance columns. So after adjustments, guys, the next two columns will now be for our adjusted trial balance. We will now combining adjusted trial balance figures and our adjustments. So you just simply combine, for example, our cash. Since we don't have any adjustment to our cash, you just simply copy. No? If it's debit on the unadjusted trial balance, you just simply copy it to the debit side for our adjusted trial balance. Okay? Now, let's have prepaid advertising. We have a debit of prepaid advertising for 180,000. And then we have an adjustment of credits for 50,000. Again, rule on integers, guys. So, since it has different signs, the other one is debit and the other one is credit, then therefore we need to subtract it. So 180 minus 50, that's equal to 130,000. And then you put it on which side? You put it on the side where it is higher, no? So since our debit side is higher, then therefore we put the 130,000 balance on the debit side, okay? So that is why we have debit to 130,000. Okay, so that's for our prepaid advertising. So same rule will be followed in our engineering supplies. For our survey equipment, you just follow. And then for our accumulated depreciation, so since in our unadjusted trial balance, we have a credit balance of 650, and then we have a credit adjustment also. So to adjust, you just simply add since we have similar figures man or similar signs credit. So add 650 plus 100 and put it on the credit side. So we have 650 plus 100,000, so we have 750,000, and so on and so forth until such time that you can now finish to combine all items from cash to expense na mga items that is in your unadjusted trial balance together with your adjustments. So again, After you have already combined all the items in the unadjusted trial balance and adjustments, you also do again the footing to determine whether you have plotted correctly or you have added correctly the items. So if it is, ano guys, if it's not balanced, then that means there is something wrong. You need to recheck your adding or recheck your plotting of items. So in this case, since we have a total debits of 11,603,000 and 11,603,000 also for credit, then we assume that we have plotted correctly our adjusted trial balance. Okay, so this time we have already prepared an adjusted trial balance, which is from the combination of our unadjusted trial balance and adjustments. Okay, that is our third step. Now let's proceed with our fourth step in preparing our worksheets. So the amounts from the adjusted trial balance are extended to the balance sheet columns and income statement columns. All the assets, liabilities, and equity accounts are extended to the balance sheet columns, and your revenue and expense accounts are extended to the income statement columns. So we will now extend to the income statement. Okay, unahin natin ang income statement. Again, what are the components that will be reported sa ato ang income statement? It is our revenue and expense accounts. Okay, so you just simply determine and check all your expense and revenue accounts and then transfer it sa ato ang income statement. Okay, you just simply copy it. If it's on the credit side, you simply copy it also on the credit side. And then kung debit siya, then also you copy it on the debit side. Okay, so we have survey revenues of 6,826,000 and then all your expenses. Okay, all your expenses from salaries expense up to the last expenses. I think that is interest expense. So that is interest expense for 78,000. So do we still have more expenses? So these two guys are accrued expenses. So therefore these two are liabilities. So it will not be included our under our income statement. So I think we no longer have income and expense accounts. Therefore, we do the footing again. So this time, it is expected that we will not have a balanced debits and credits because if there should be higher credit in order for you to earn profit. Okay, if your credit side is higher, then that means there is profit. Pero if your debit side is higher, then therefore there is loss. But in this case, we have a profit. Okay, because we have 6,826,000 total credits, but your total debits only includes 6,413,000. So that means we have a profit of 413,000 because your total credit is higher than your total debits. Okay? So to adjust guys, you put the profit on the debit side para magka equal debits and credits tayo of 6,826,000 both for debit and credit. So that would be for our fourth na step. Now this time let us extend also. Let's extend first your adjusted trial balance into our worksheet. Uh, I mean, let us extend your adjusted trial balance sa ato ang balance sheet in our balance sheet. Also in the balance sheet, we will be having the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity accounts. So again, we have here same thing that we have done in our income statement. We just simply copy all assets and liabilities at the same time equity accounts sa in our adjustments and copy it in our balance sheet. Okay, so we have cash of 295 up to survey equipment of 2,050,000. So that is our total assets. We also transfer our total liabilities of 750,000. Sorry, accumulated depreciation of 750,000 including our liabilities of accounts payable for 240 and notes payable of 650,000. Okay? 650,000 total liabilities. Also, we have our total capital, guys, which is ber, our version, our capital of Berciotti, capital of 2,815,000. You just simply copy. Again, lahat ng mga assets and liabilities and at the same time your owner's equity will just simply be copied here in our balance sheet. And also, here sa baba, do not forget that we also have liabilities here. Your accrued interest expense and accrued salaries expense of 78,000 and 190,000 here. Also guys, in our balance sheet, it is also expected na dili mag-balance. Our debits and credits will not balance, okay? But this time, if we have higher, baliktad naman ito sa ating income statement. If there is higher, if there's higher debits, then that means there is profit. If there is higher credits kapag balance sheet, then there's loss, okay? In this case, we have 5,190,000 debits versus our total credits of 4,777,000. So that gives us a difference of 413,000. So that means we have a total profit of 413,000, which is also equal to the computed profit that we had earlier sa ato ang income statement. So that means we have correctly computed and plotted all our items. So we now have a total debits and credits under our balance sheet of 5,190,000 and 5,190,000 for our credits. So we have now prepared, now we have now completed the 10 steps of preparing your worksheets. Again, let me just reiterate the process of preparing your worksheets. First is simply copy the items that is presented in your unadjusted trial balance. And then second step is to integrate or to copy all your prepared adjustments, okay, debits and credits. And third step is to incorporate, combine your unadjusted trial balance and your adjustments to prepare adjusted trial balance. After preparing adjusted trial balance, you extend your adjusted trial balance towards your income statement and your balance sheet. Okay? So, income statement will include all your revenues and expenses, and at the same time, balance sheet includes all your assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. And don't forget, there should be higher debits, there should be higher credits over your debits in your income statement for you to have a net profit. Also, for you to have profit, there should be higher debits sa balance sheet over your credits to have a profit. If it's baliktad, then therefore, there is a loss. Okay? Now, the total debits and total credits of the unadjusted and the adjusted trial balance and the adjusted columns are equal. The columns of income statement will be totaled, but the difference will indicate profitability as what we have referred earlier. If the total credit is higher than the total debit, then it generally means the company earns profit. But if the result is opposite, then the company incurs loss. But the total debit and total credit is equal, that means the company earns neither loss nor profit. It is, if it's a profit, then the amount will be added to the credit columns of the balance sheet columns and the amount loss is the and if the amount is lost, then this will be deducted to the credit columns to the balance sheet columns. So earlier, sorry, that was my dog. So again, guys, since we have higher credits here, so therefore we simply add the difference sa atong total debits. Same happens in our balance sheet since we have profit. Okay, so that typically ends our lecture in simple preparation of accounting worksheets. So I hope that you got something from this video lecture, and that's it. See you in our next video lectures. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.